The Worlds has concluded, but due to the swap to the new engine, this is the first time in my TFT playing experience that the new set has not dropped on PB the following week. Instead, we are going to be having another patch. However, the embargo on the new set info has lifted, and I've started my work on the sheets for the upcoming set. Therefore, here you have a quick glance at the utility and the resource generation that I have compiled from the released units. Speaking of units, I am also working on units, going to be looking at that. But as I'm going to be out of town for the next few days, I'm going to be working it on the side and releasing as we approach the set PB, and obviously the guides will follow when the set drops. As usual, the link to the cheat sheet is going to be available in the description below. But for now, we're going to be jumping in-game with another interesting story from the Worlds run. We are jumping in-game with K3 Soju in a Varus and Aurelian Soul game with an upgraded 1 cost, having the Leona 2-star already. And the story here is that this is one of the games where he required a very strong performance. This is the game 12. And to qualify for the final lobby, he needs a very good placement right now to make it for that game 13 and then make it to that final lobby. And being pretty much the last America's hope after this game. We have Dish Soap, we have Dank Memes in this lobby. They are still in running, but a little bit behind, and Dish Soap is the prime candidate. And the story is that he called this game's win immediately already when seeing his 3-2 augment. So let's see how we got there. Looking at it right now, we're playing around this Leona. The AP is quite strong of a line. In many ways you can flex around it. Have that Lissandra, opting to hold on to the Lulu as well and the MF. Replicator variant saw some success but requires extreme high roll spot. However, I do not think... Yeah, we have bow. We have something like a more of a Zaya setup, if anything. Would be hard to arrive to LeBlanc as you need so many rods really in this line. And for the slams, we would... Kraken is the better slam in my opinion if you wanted to slam something, but we do not really have a holder for it right now either. Since we are not exactly set in our direction, branching out has been considered to be extremely strong of an option. Carve a path is something great in, for example, the Corki line if you wanted to go down that way. Try to tempo hard, also can consider it for Master Yi or Zaya, but yeah, it's fine. There's Samira can hold the items until Jin as well. Lunch money, we do not have the opener for it, and this is... I think I saw it clicked once and didn't work out that well in the competitive scene. Yeah, you need extreme amounts of tempo. It's going to be hard to pull off. Band of Thieves is amazing for tempo purposes. Good for something since the nerfs hasn't seen that much play. If you're playing around something like an anima, then it's great. Otherwise, in these the highest tournament lobbies, they prefer to tempo hard. They slam their items. It's hard to pull off. Branching out. Going to be going with it, provides us a direction. Speaking of Corki, we immediately get that Meeple emblem. Great if we wanted to go for the Vygar print, but we would need to hit a lot of copies, and we do not have the items for it. We do not have that JG Nashor's combo. We only have a half of a Nashor's Tooth, but that's going to allow us to slot this Meeple right here and make 10 immediately for ourselves. Still opting to hold on to that Nasus pair, I suppose. With the Meeple emblem, I believe we're pretty much locked in to be playing that Meeple line right away. Fine to have that damage jump on the Riven. Can just utilize this extra item. Could also be considering an R from this spot if we've naturaled some copies, I believe. We have the half of a Rod, half of a Rage Blade. Sorry, half of the Rage Blade, half of the IE. We see that there's an anima player. We're going to even sell the poppies here. This is a very interesting play. Trying to fully open onto this anima player. He has to be playing 3 units. And the thing is, I would have preferred to sell this Veigar instead. Because if we're playing for that fast 8 variant, we do not want to be in the poppy jail. Finding that poppy, I mean, she's going to be most likely be quite uncontested, but we do not really need a Veigar unless we want to be playing 7 Meeple at some point. But you can see, now Soju has taken it up on himself, as we are not going to be having the strong opener to try to open onto this anima player. They seem pretty set on playing the line, and we just get queued into Dish Soap. And again, this is the games you're going to be playing. We're going to be sacrificing a lot of HP. See a lot of players do this on the ladder, and I'll be frank, sometimes you are fine to be rebounding back, but our setup, we're not going to be angling one of the strongest lines in the game to be winning out. And also, pros have had a tough time rebounding in themselves, right? And for ourselves right now, I believe Wealth Quest is just the best option. The line, the Quirky Raven line can utilize millions of items, and we are sacking and making these econ thresholds there early. Anyhow, we are lowest on the HP, so Super Parting Gifts is something you might consider as well if you really wanted to. Picking up a glove instead of a sword. I believe if we're playing down this Quirky, we definitely want the sword, right? And that would be immediate DB for ourselves. Perhaps he's valuing having that guaranteed Sunder so much. Or we're considering there's no way we're considering a possibility for a Space Groove out this kind of a spot. If you are going to be playing Space Groove without an ammo, we are going to be selling that. You need some strong combat setup. And now we finally queue into the anime player. We are mapping out our 7 meeple board, and thankfully we break his streak at the time where he's going to have a little tough time rebounding it. So perhaps being open for a little while was for our own benefit in the long run. But now we just should be fine trying to string together some kind of a board. The only issue is that we are lacking quite a lot of pieces to actually do so. So obviously want to guarantee 5 loss here as well. Dank Memes is going to be most likely keeping the Primordials in. There's going to be extra econ for him nonetheless, even though he's also on that loss streak. And he has some upgrades. He does not want to be open selling the board. Has the continuous conjuration, so it seems like his game plan is most likely going to be playing into the LeBlanc, seeing we holding onto the Leon in the shop, have the Rageblade Slam. Great augment for that line as always. Cash out our Wealth Quest, probably holding on to the Anvil to see if we do get a natural component. On level 5 we should not be having really issues to be killing this Krugs. I mean, I certainly hope so that 5 units should be fine, but with the Brawler we should be definitely quite fine. Find us a mirror that could be our item holder as we're looking, because right now, right, we're coming out of the loss streak. We are not playing really a win out line. We need to be starting to preserve lives. Whenever you're playing from these loss streak spots and are angling fast 8, you have to be thinking to yourself, how can I stabilize myself on this stage 3? What units can I potentially upgrade? What pairs am I playing around? What slams can I be making? We're going to be securing this 6 loss first. And we are in the Huayme, who's thankfully still level 4, able to kill off a unit. That's going to be another life preserved for ourselves. But we definitely need to be looking at killing our units. Not taking 10 damage each remaining of the stage is going to leave us at 22. We're probably, without an econ option right here, we are probably going to be too poor to really be sending it on 4-1. And if you're going to be playing around the 7 meeple even with Emblem, the printing is going to grieve us a little bit. But we see Earth's Gambit. This is very good. Voyager Emblem, top tier. We have the Anvils that we can guarantee it. Another meeple emblem allows us for the possibility of playing for 10 meeple from a loss streak. Tough to get there as you want to be sacking and may have to make it to level 10. But another meeple emblem for 3-7 meeple is not bad either. Group Hug, strong in the comps where you can actually clump. Mostly melee comps where you can also utilize your resistances and your carries. Something like your Jinxes, something like your Master Yi's. Exclusive customization. If we wanted to with a little bit more item tempo going into stages would be great. We do not need item tempo right now. We're ideally, I would assume, looking for either the Econ option or the Earth's Gambit just because it has such high upside. Invader Z is going to get buffed next patch. Tough, but if you make it to Z2, still very good with this specific setup of the Shojin, Edge of Night, and Adaptive Helm. But getting there is going to be tough now from this spot. Slammin' could be quite appealing, but do we want to be committing our items right now? We have the possibility to make that Last Whisper. Maybe we can hit the Steadfast or Rector's Vow and the DB. Could be considered, but the Earth's Gambit just has such a high upside. Another component, 3 gold. Used to be 6 gold for insane reasons. And we're just going to allows us to not really slam these items. Hopefully try to still angle this loss streak, immediately complete that Last Whisper, so it seems that that's why he really wanted to secure that glove. And going to be going with, should have probably popped the Anvil before, in my opinion, the one other Anvil before we committed the slam, but nonetheless, the Stone Plate is pretty much always going to be made. And opting to go with the belt to keep an open belt, I would assume for anti-heal here. Very heads up play. Now another thing that we could have done is held on to these anvils until we saw that we were going to be losing, and then probably in back of his mind, alright, I'm going to be getting a pan, and I believe we need a pan, as if I remember correctly, it's the one that completes the Voyager emblem, right? We're going to be seeing once we get there, because with the spatula we had the open tier for that meeple emblem. I think it's the tier. I am forgetting my emblem craftings. There's so little emblem crafting without spatulas now onto the carousel. That you just pretty much get full emblem straight up. For ourselves, Star Request, 10 gold. We're looking for Econ is going to be more value than these lesser the duplicator. And yeah, we need a rod for a Voyager emblem right there, we can see. Aligns ourselves with Aurelian, which should be fine. Miss on the rod, but we are going to be picking up a Corki instead. That's going to complete us nicely. Are we going... I mean, theoretically, Bramble is insane for this Rammus, right? But we need to sort out our anti-heal, and I believe the lobby is leaning, as usual, more into the AP direction. The Sunfire, ideally, in the later stages of the game, just can be moved off. If we are also holding on to the Steer as a possibility in case we do get that spatula, Reforger to reforge into the spatula for another Meeple Lemon, right? Playing to your outs. Not being overcommitted in the spots where you don't really need to be. These extra item slam wouldn't have made a difference in any of these fights. We are running a little bit ratchet of a board, and we're still not that rich, right? I mean, I would assume that we're going to be 2-starring something on our roll down that gives us that immediate 10 gold. But since our loss streak got broken there, we're definitely going to be quite poor. Now we queue into the tank beams, who hopefully we can pick up a fight win against. Okay, so this allowed me to me signals that we are fine to be sacking our way to at least 4-2. If we pick up a win, that's great. If not, fine. We just want to be utilizing the reduced cost, right? Immediately. Natural Riven, which is also quite neat. Any unit that we can natural from these kind of spots is amazing. That's why also on the carousel, perhaps even if we had a better item, I don't think we saw a rod or anything better, but you want to be picking up the units you're looking for to be able to stabilize with at least a gold investment. Thankfully, we get to drop the rod here and we can immediately make use of it. Are we going for another DB than another Giant Slayer? Yeah, that's going to be the move. Get this 3-item Corki, and Driven is going to be our emblem holder. I believe that, I mean, double DB is the best for the Corki. I'm just wondering if the Giant Slayer, maybe we wanted to keep our options a little bit more open for the anti-transfer a little bit later on. Picking up a win, it was very nice for ourselves, and now we should be fine primed for our roll down. Now, as I said, K3 Soju has already caught his win right here, so let's see how he managed to achieve it. Explosive growth is not going to help us stabilize right now. We definitely need to be looking for it. Explosive malicious monetization, are we going to be having enough gold to actually hit the board that can kill other stuff? I believe the way we have seen throughout this tournament is that indexing on combat augments, whenever you do not have them, we have item pretty much from our selections. Another combat augment could bridge the gap between the less lines in the game, and is what really pushes from a good setup but not the ideal conditions, these lines to be able to win out the game. Therefore, plot armor is quite appealing. Cybernetic implants is also not a bad option. This comp can utilize a lot of swords. We want to ensure that our Riven is in AD form as well, and the sword can complete the revive them. But he's believing that the plot armor is going to be quite strong. We are looking a little bit on the frontline department. We have hit our carries at least on a single copies. Now we find that Rammus. Thankfully, we are not in a poppy jail. Are we going to be playing around 7 meeple for now? Yes, we are. That allows us to potentially print this Riven or the Corki too, as we are able to hit that Rammus too, quite thankfully. Is a very uncontested unit in many of the lobbies. That's why this line saw a lot of success, and K3 Soju is having that meme that he's the Corki connoisseur by simply playing the line so much. But as you can see, even not from the ideal tempo spots, you have the setup, obviously we have the emblem, but you can find a way for this line to so the philosophy is that you need to be winning stage 4 and you're playing around uncontested units. So if you have enough gold, sometimes you can even wait a little bit after your augment selection on 4-2 for others to pull out all the other 4 costs. Then send it if you have the APM to pick up the uncontested units and then try to win out the stage 4. You're going to be needing quite a bit of gold going into that 4-2 to actually upgrade them and be able to buy them. But if you're able to secure around find wins like we are right now onto the stage 4, you definitely have the possibility for a strong top 4 finish. Low health quest is actually we're quite a lot of reach. Owned copy of forecast. I mean, are we high rolling for a Corki here? I believe the low health quest is quite appealing, especially if we drop one round. This allows us to immediately be pushing for that level 9 pretty much. And that's quite great, as we still need to be chasing that bard, which can go in pretty much immediately as we see one. And also we can see that this, because his other units on the board are quite weak, he is not even considering the possibility of having any other on the front line. He's instead keeping this Rammus solo frontliner dead in the middle as well, which is a little ballsy of a strategy opening it, but I don't think there's anything really that can be wrapping for us right now. And you know, you can see this Aurelian Beams pretty much nukes half the HP of the Rammus, but at least we have that prot armor for him to help. Definitely going to be a little bit stronger of a play if we had that Bard to give that extra meat, but pick up a close win fight, and we are perfectly... Wait, we were on... We gained a double tick there because I believe the one just wasn't showing. Alright, so just checking if we in case didn't miss the fourth tick. And tried to maybe moved off the unit just in time. There has been some wonky stuff regarding that going on, but we have 3 ticks. We're going to be assumed. I guess we're putting in the Orn. We could put in Nami, right? Just to print for an extra gold for us to be now pretty much stably pushing our way to level 9. I still have that low Quelt quest to also proc in, but it looks like we're going to be printing an Orn. All right. Might as well, and I see that's a nice trick. It doesn't consume the full charges. Now we're looking for just completion of a Riven item, Kraken DG. I believe we could be considering that. Could be quite fine. And for our Lelian quest, going to be taking immediate at 80 AD. I was thinking, since we have this spot that we are kind of pushing now, we are pretty much strong. Maybe we can be considering capping with another item, but then we have to then just like, but then. You know, we want to itemize Bard, we want to be moving off this Sunfire from Rammus, but we have the TG for now, and the next item man will be ideally be using that to move the item off the Rammus, so playing for that long game on a comp that needs to win now, this is going to be the best choice, and we're eliminating dank memes. That pretty much spells a disaster into his run. Dish Soap, also there on the low HP, which is not looking great for him at this kind of a spot. Both of them needed quite high finishes to be able to qualify for that last game 13. But yeah, regarding Kraken is, you know, sometimes we might consider, hey, we're not going to be taking this for Riven. At this point, the Riven is just, you know, she just needs to be a secondary carry that can stay alive and deal some damage. And this is the AD item that guarantees that she's going to be there in that AD form. And also picking up that just a useful option right away allows us to be trying to push for that this level 9. Now we just need to find a Bard. But he's opting not to roll heavily. We have slotted in the Rast immediately, gained that little bit of an extra attack speed, which we're kind of lacking on our team, so it's quite nice. And we are placing the Vanguard Aurelian Soul from Title, who's trying to transition slowly to that fast 9 cap. And this Rammus, even without the Bard, is holding up quite strong, and we can see a lot of damage coming out. The bursts are taking these Quirky bursts are taking down the the main tanks from these boards. Bagel up a stone plate, as we talked about, moving that Sunfire off, and immediately this is also going to nicely synergize with the way we are positioning ourselves. Have loaded up that Shen as well for a possibility if you wanted to drop out of the 7 meeples. If we find a Bard, then we can drop this Poppy. One Poppy is, though, in my opinion, quite nice, and she has that extra armor and armor buff. But we clear off seemed a little low rolled fast 9 attempt there from it was I believe it's the Chinese player Xiongge. And we are on a 10 streak with a board that you wouldn't be expecting, but just from being able to spike heavily, natural some of their upgrades of the uncontested units, and replaying around our spikes, we have nicely kept up the tempo with the rest of the lobby. Now playing against the Space Groove line, I believe that now that they have made it to that Blitz 2, this is the one way they can win. They have the side effects, which are also very strong of a combat option for this board, but still have double econ options. So if we find that Bard, we have the possibility to be quite strong. Now we proc our low health quest, and we see that this is another nice read thing. He realized we have this HP lead, we still can win the fights. That is why he's so good at reading the lobby. That is why he was able to call the win. He read the lobby, realized that there's a lot of players that are not going to be capping that high, and we are fine now to the preserved amount of HP to be pushing this level 10 and actually go for a max level cap. We also have the possibility to be going for a doubly itemized quirky, two quirky twos, right? And not going to be printing this Poppy. Corki still has the possibility to burst down these big units, right? We can see against the Shogat, for example, the Quirky ult comes in and he's able to do a great deal of damage, and now the Riven has received a little bit better itemization as well. Print that Poppy too, as now she's here to stay for a worthwhile, and this is might be a 7 meeple win out. There's something you do not get to see a lot. There's actually people remaining the 7 meeple, and this Voyager, with even without just a single copy of Bard, our meeps are nicely positioned there to ensure that the meep also goes into this Rammus. Now the Cho'Gath is in our face from Juan Mei. Our our Rammus has fallen down, but the rest of the board is still quite tanky. And that was the last fight. Yeah, I thought it was double kill, but still, this Darkstar board has the damage in waves, right? And this Jhin simply didn't get to his last cast. The first one eliminates the Rammus, and that we have a second rotation of this Quirky, and he just cleans up the rest of the board, and we're able to pick up the win. Very cleanly played game by Cratery Soju, displaying why he was in the end the America's final hope in that final lobby, reading the lobby, adjusting to your gods, knowing your spike timings, and not being afraid to sacrifice the HP if you know that you have the possibility to cap higher than the rest of the lobby, and in that way secure that first place. Keeping your components open, prioritizing those debuffs, and knowing what exactly can push the weaker lines to compete against the best. I would like to thank you for watching. I hope that you learned something new, and I wish to see you in the next one. Have a good one.